if you were an employer, what would you look for in a candidate? That is a question I'm asking you. What would you look for? Initiative. Bingo. How many of you would, if you were an employer, would want an employee with initiative? Most of you, right? Right. What else would you look for in an employee? Dedication, creativity, experience, professionalism. What were you going to say? No, somebody else said it. Follow through. What else? Anything else? Integrity. Positive attitude. Okay, so if that's what you would look for, how are you going to demonstrate that as a job seeker? Do you demonstrate that by sending in a resume? So you see what I'm saying? There's a disconnect here. If you follow the rules and do the things that they tell you to do, and they say send the resume in if you'd like to be considered for a job, does that show initiative? Does that show creativity? Does that show, oh, it shows follow through, professionalism, shows your experience, but are you standing out by doing that? No, you're in the pile. So what we need to do is start thinking, how can we demonstrate that we have this initiative, that we have this expertise, that we have this experience, that we have ideas for them, that we have a positive can-do attitude that will help them get there. You can't do it from a piece of paper, because they get that paper and it's just like a brochure. And if somebody sends you a brochure, what do you do with it? Throw it out. Stick it in a pile if you're lucky. So you can't do it the old way because it gets filed in the circular file or in the stack on the desk of the 400 other resumes that came in that day. So if you're an employer and you're looking for somebody that shows initiatives, that has expertise, that is committed and positive, doing things and forward thinking, etc., you've got to do that. Now, what would you not want to see in an employee? What was that? Form letters. Anything else? Lack of initiative. Arrogance. Complacency. All right, you need to make sure that that doesn't come through. There's a fine line sometimes between reaching out and showing initiative and arrogance, which is where people teeter. They don't want to go across that line. But the key is professionalism, which is what I think you just said, to hold the professionalism, because you can do it with great professionalism. And then there's a balance. Now, if we can take a look at the next slide. I just want to mention this right now. The hardest thing about not having work is what it does for you inside. And it saps the vitality out of you. And I know that from way too much experience. It saps your professional vitality too. And the longer you're out of work, the more, it just, you need to get involved somehow doing your work. If you're a lawyer, you need to do lawyer's work. If you're an accountant, you need to do accountant's work. If you're a marketer, you need to do marketer's work. If you're, whatever you are, you need to do work in that area. And I don't care if you do it for free or if you do it for low wages. You need to do your work. So either volunteer to do your work, especially if you've been off for a long time. Do something in your field and be supportive, and do something to help other people and give back, or charge something for it, because you do deserve getting paid for it with other companies, and you can ask for that. But do your work, because the longer you're out of work, and I'm seeing right now that people are saying that no long-term unemployeds apply. I mean, did you see that in the paper the other day? Some job ads are coming out with that on. No long-term unemployeds need apply. So there's a whole lot of people that are long-term unemployeds, and they're being told not to apply. You got to keep your vitality hot during that time, and you got to be working in your work. And I really mean it. Do something, and not like when I'm a sales. I'm going to say I'm a sales guy, I'm a sales girl. I needed to do something that was sales and marketing motivated. And I needed to do something that demonstrated initiative on my part. And I did that. I actually started writing and doing some things, and I ended up creating a website. And before long, I was doing other things, but it kept me vital, and it's the vitality that you need in order to go in and apply for a job tomorrow. You need to be working on something today. That's sort of what you work on. It doesn't have to be exactly, but it does have to be sort of. Close enough that if somebody said, what, you've been out of work for a year, you could say, well, I have been out of work for a year, but I haven't been not working. I've been doing something. I've gone back to school. I've done this. I've done that. So you need to be able to address, you've been out of work for a year. Well, I've been out of work, yes, but I haven't been not working. And here's what I've been doing. That way you can go in with your head held high. You can feel good about yourself and feel strong. It's really important to keep working, volunteer, do something important. Now, let's take a look at the next slide. This is the biggest mistake I see long-term unemployed people make. People say to you, what can you do? And what is your answer? I could do anything. I'm in marketing. Oh, I could do, I'd be glad to do anything. I like marketing. I'm really good at marketing. I'd be glad to do anything in the marketing field. Now, how do you hear that if you're an employer? Desperation. So the very thing that you are doing to create the opportunities for yourself by saying, I'm open, I can do all these things, actually limits your ability to get your job. Does that make sense? It really, and see, I deal with salespeople that do this all the time too, by the way. And they'll go into a company and they'll say, and if you've ever had salespeople come in, some of them are really bad, which we talked about at the beginning, but you'll say, what does your company do? And they lay out all these brochures or all these things that they do, and they say, well, we could do this, we can 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 do this. And when people are doing that, what do you think? They can't do anything well. They do a whole bunch of stuff mediocre. And in busy times like today, do you want to hire a jack of all trades? No. You want somebody who's really good. So the scariest thing for you guys is to narrow what you want. And to be really, really, really clear on it. Not be open for any job. I'd be willing to do anything. Because the minute you say to somebody, I'd be willing to do anything, what do they hear? Desperation. You need to look at them and to be able to say, here's what I do, and here's what I do well. I am good at this. And you need to plant your stake in the ground and claim what you're good at. Because everybody else is saying they can do everything. But if you're saying, no, this is what I do. Here's what I do. I am really good in this area. It is my strength. Then it does make you separated from the other people. And that's, again, the hardest thing when you're really concerned about getting a job is to narrow your options down and to make it smaller when every instinct in your body is telling you, yeah, tell them you can do it all. I worked in the accounting department. I did everything. Little this, little that. And then I go, oh, God, not another generalist. I need somebody who can jump right in here today and get to work and who really understands this stuff.